All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, September 1st. We got ourselves a new month and a 13-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Happy Labor Day to everyone out there. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, if you want to fade me, that's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. Yesterday, yeah, another 2-4 night. That is two 2-4 nights in a row. So we're on a whopping 4-8 run here in the MLB. Don't exactly love that. Our only winners being the Angels, Astros first 5 under, and then Scooble to record the win. That was nice for plus money there. But everything else, I mean, that Rays Nationals first 5 under and first 3 under definitely didn't come through. The Mets and Marlins over 7.5. I think they scored 6 runs, and then the Astros lose 3-0. So not exactly the best night from your boy. And speaking of not the best, unfortunately, the ride of the day does not come through from iRespawn. We can share this womp womp, because my plays were not all that great either. The ride of the day, Bryce Miller under 15.5 outs. I believe he pitched 6 innings, so that does not come through. We will update the tracker just after this video, but you can see it here. Bryce Miller, minus 135, under 15.5 outs, does not come through. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is and you're interested, all you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day or ROTD down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. Give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to roll and ride with your plays, and you keep getting shout outs. You go on a little bit of a streak as we track it, right? If you do lose, you still get the shout out the next day, but unfortunately, we're talking about a loss, and nobody wants to do that, right? And you got to face the womp womp on the soundboard. So get those hashtag ride of the days. Let's see if we can get back in the win column today. What do you say we go ahead and dive into game number 1, guys? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking. We got a weird one here. Nationals taking on Miami. And when I say a weird one, it's because we have Andrew Alvarez making his big league debut, going up against Morgan McSweeney making his big league debut. So 2 pitchers that I admittedly don't know too much about. In AAA this year, McSweeney has a 1.2 whip, the 2.25 ERA. That's in 10 appearances, 9 starts. And Alvarez has a longer kind of tenure in the minors. He's been pitching since 2021 down there. This year, 3.95 ERA with a 1.35 whip. I would say, simply put, I'm just going to lean towards the home team as well as the team that I do believe has somewhat of the better bats right now. But this is a toss-up. I don't think that I'm actually going to be rolling with this myself. I did lean over because, again, you have 2 pitchers that have never pitched before. Maybe they do go out there and struggle a little bit or aren't as sharp as they were in the minors, and then throw it to either one of these bullpens, both bottom 10 bullpens from a whip and ERA perspective. Over 9 is probably the only thing that I can truly justify here. I do lean the Nationals, like I said, because they're the home team, but also Alvarez is a lefty, and this Marlins team does struggle mightily against lefties over the last 30 days or so. But again, this is kind of a weird one with 2 pitchers that we don't know too much about. All right, next up we have Cincinnati taking on Toronto. Hunter Green on the bump for Cincinnati. Since coming back, he's looked all right. I mean, he had that really good start against Philadelphia, but then he went up against the Angels in 6 1/3, 3 earned, but 12 strikeouts. There's some good and bad there, right? Then he went up against the Dodgers. He went 5 innings, 3 earned, only 3 strikeouts. 5 runs did end up coming in. He allowed 2 home runs. So definitely a mixed bag since coming back, but he definitely has showed some flashes of who he was just prior to going out. He's going up against Chris Bassett, who has been pretty good lately, right? He has a 2.2 ERA over his last 5 and a 1.5 whip on the season, though, when on the road, which isn't all that great. A FIP of flat 5, an average against of 295. What I will say is I still do believe that this is a really good Toronto offense, even though they didn't look as sharp as normal in that Milwaukee series. That was only 2 games. Then in the 3rd game, they put up 8 runs, right? Now, Cincinnati, you can be like, well, they put up 7 runs yesterday in a win against St. Louis, and that's true. Prior to that, it was 2, 5, 1, 3, 0, 8, 1, 5, 1, like nothing too consistent. And what I'll say is Hunter Green also doesn't have the best numbers against the current guys in this Toronto team. So for plus money, I guess Blue Jays would be where I look. I'll also consider the over here. We saw 5 guys go out of the bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. And then for the Reds, Pagan, Santillan included with 2 other guys, Nick Martinez and Sam Moe, also pitched. So the bullpen's got a little tax. I think that there could be some runs in this one. If this is a spot in which Hunter Green and the Reds were at home plus money, I'd probably be leaning towards them on the side. So I really am just following the plus money here. The only sort of saving grace from what I could see from Chris Bassett, he, like I said, struggles on the road, but he has been dominant this year against righties, and maybe dominance a little bit excessive, but still a 1.1 whip, a strikeout rate of 25%, walking just 4%, and a 1.7 ground ball to fly ball rate. There's a bunch of righties in this lineup today. I think he's going to see 6 or 7 righties in this Reds lineup. Give me the Blue Jays, but I do think once we get late in the game, we could see some runs from both of these offenses, so I like that over 8.5 as well. All right, real quick, guys, I want to talk to you about Chalkboard because they have one of the best deals going on right now in market. If you use the link down in the description or the pinned comment, it's going to be in both places, and sign up with code GUYBOSS, and you need to use that code, you're going to get a free $20. You don't need to deposit. You get that $20 on sign up. It's an absolute no-brainer. Go ahead and check it out. If your state is highlighted in green down below here in the bottom right of your screen and you're not on Chalkboard yet, you're missing out. Yes, they do the typical DFS player prop in which you pick more or less based on player set projections, but now on Chalkboard, you can even do game picks. You can pick which team you think is going to win. You can pick the over or the under or the run line and add those into your entries. You put 2 or more of those in there. The more you win, the more you get paid out. Really, really cool, guys. Go ahead and check it out, if not just for the free $20, but I know you're going to want to stick around in there and keep playing on Chalkboard because it's that cool. Get ready for the NFL season. They're going to go absolutely nuclear during that too. So check it out. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment, and make sure that Guy Boston is plugged in to get that free $20. All right, we get the Tigers taking on the Mets. Tigers coming off of a series in which they did win 2 of 3 against Kansas City. They had got swept by the Athletics before that, and then before that they won 2 of 3 against Kansas City as well. So kind of tough to tell where the Tigers are right now. They are 80-58 in terms of a record, kind of a sneaky good record there. They're going up against the Mets, who just lost the series. They lost 3 of 4 against the Marlins. They did sweep the Philadelphia Phillies before them. So it's like very hard for both these teams to kind of peg exactly where they are. On the mound for Detroit, Charlie Morton's pitching. Now, he's been very hit or miss lately as well, going up against Sean Manaea. I think Sean Manaea's kind of leveled out a little bit here. He's probably going to give you around 5 innings, 3 earned overall. I think that this is a Mets team that can hit Charlie Morton, though. So what I really do like here is an over, especially if you can snag the 8.5 that's out there. I'd also lean towards the Mets because I do think that they'll have the advantage kind of late innings, as well as Sean Manaea over Charlie Morton. The fastball, he's going to throw 62% of the time. This is a Detroit team that is not hitting the fastball all that well whatsoever, and in fact, the top of their order all have negative runs above average against the fastball. One player that I do like, and this is a guy that's kind of in the middle of their lineup, not at the top, is Andy Ibanez here, over 0.5 hits. You can get it for minus 165 right now. I wouldn't pay past that, but I do think that that's kind of a decent deal. He's hitting the fastball really, really well, and the slider, he started to hit well, so boom, there you go. Going up against a lefty, batting .387 against lefties last 30 days. So Mets over and Ibanez for hits is what I'd look at in this one. If I had to rank them, it'd probably be over Mets and then Ibanez, I guess, if we had to kind of prioritize where we're at there. But I just don't fully believe in Charlie Morton's consistency. At the very least, Manaea, if these teams aren't hitting and maybe they're swinging and missing, which this is a Detroit team that's kind of middle of the pack in terms of strikeouts, he can be serviceable right now. Like I said, though, he's probably going to let up some runs. That's why I like that over. Next up, we have the Red Sox taking on the Guards. We have Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox, who's been absolutely phenomenal. He's got a 1.6 ERA over his last 5 starts, and that includes a start against San Diego, in which he went 5 2/3 with 5 earned runs. Other than that, it's been 0 through 6 against Kansas City, 2 through 6 1/3 against Miami, 0 through 7 against the Yankees, and then Baltimore 1 through 6 2/3. Brian Bayo has been nothing short of unbelievable in his, honestly, last month or so of pitching. I guess we could say last 5 starts to be sure. He's going to throw a lot of sinkers. This is a tough pitch for Cleveland to hit. They rank 28th against the sinker right now. He also throws the slider. They're 22nd. Now flip it over to Parker Messick, who's going to be pitching here for Cleveland. Parker Messick has the one start there recently against Tampa Bay. He went 7 innings, 0 earned. So I think we got to give him a little bit of credit in that start. Like, that's obviously very, very good. That being said, he does throw fastball a ton. I think he also has one other outing. He didn't necessarily start, but I think he pitched the primary, and he was really good against like Arizona or something. So let's call it 2 starts, even though he didn't officially start that other one. He's been very good. My concern for him is that he's going to throw fastball a lot. He throws fastball 45% of the time. Obviously, a young pitcher here. I think he's only like 24 years old. This Red Sox team still hitting the fastball really, really well. There's only 3 guys in the lineup that don't have a positive runs above average against the fastball. So for me, it's going to be the Red Sox. I don't mind their team total over either. But I think Brayan Bello, you got to include in the mix right now, hoping that he can kind of keep things going. I don't mind Cleveland's team total under 4.5 right now either. If you take a peek at their under, they've hit it in 9 of their last 10 games. When on the road so far this season, they've hit it in 66% of games as well. So getting to 5 runs, is no easy task for this Cleveland team. And I love the idea of Brayan Bello going up against them. He does have some, wavering numbers against the current roster in the past. But that being said, I feel like this is a different Brayan Bello than we maybe have seen his whole career so far. This is what Red Sox fans, myself included, were promised what Brayan Bello was supposed to be. And he's starting to finally turn into form. So I like the Red Sox today. That probably will be a final play out of everything we talked about here ultimately. Astros taking on the Angels. This Astros team is perplexing to me right now. So I'll tell you this. Okay. I don't think, I can't make any promises. I don't think even no matter what we talk about here, I don't think we ultimately roll with anything in this game because it just seems so upside down. But we have Houston, who has now lost 2 straight here against this, 2 straight against this Angels team. They won 2-0 in that first one. They have Luis Garcia on the mound, who hasn't pitched in the bigs in quite some time, going up against Kikuchi, who has been obviously pitching, but he does definitely struggle on the road. All of his bad starts, or most of his bad starts, have come on the road this year. So I'm going to lean Astros. I don't think that they lose this series, 3-1 to the Angels. But I don't necessarily want to sit here and be like, Luis Garcia is going to deal. We haven't seen him in damn near 2 years, right? So to me, this is going to be a spot in which, we lean the over, we lean the Astros, but man, oh man, is there some question marks and some variables that we don't really have answers to. One of them being, okay, well, what are the Astros going to give you? Even though they're 6-4 in their last 10 games, they're 3-4 in their last 7, and the 3 wins they had 2 4-4 runs. That was against Colorado. You're playing most teams. You're not going to definitely win with 4 runs, right? They're 0, 1, 2, 4, 4, 1, 2, 9, 10, 7. Back in, August 22nd is when they were scoring runs. Since then, we're in September now. Can I officially say that? We're in September now and they're not scoring. So a lot of variables in this one. Is their offense going to go off? Are they going to be all right? It's pretty damn dicey right now. So those are slight leans. I hate to give you guys kind of like on the fence predictions, but man, oh man, I'm not going to fake confidence for content. Not with an Astros team that just seems to be so perplexing right now. All right, Twins taking on the White Sox. Bailey Ober's on the mound for the Twins. He really has been hit or miss lately, I guess is a good way of putting it, right? Going up against, I believe it's either going to be Aaron Savali or Bryce Wilson. That's not going to matter too much to me. Just simply put, this Twins team does not deserve, in my opinion, to be minus 190 favorites over anyone, even someone like the White Sox. So I'll sound the psycho alert alarm, but I think this is a White Sox spot. Do I actually have the cojones to roll with them and bet them myself? That's still TBD, right? Where I could see something happen is maybe a potential over. If Savali or Wilson goes out there and stinks, and maybe this Twins team has some offensive life, like we've kind of seen in the last, 4 games or so, then sure, maybe they put up some runs, maybe they can even carry the majority of the water. But this White Sox team against Bailey Ober, and then say Bailey Ober even pitches okay, and the White Sox get like 1 or 2 off of him through 5 innings. We're handing it off to a nearly bottom 5 bullpen in Minnesota, and this White Sox offense really hasn't been like all that terrible. For what it's worth, they've been scoring fairly consistent right now. They won yesterday against the Yankees. They only scored 3 runs, but I even said that in the video. I was like, would it surprise anyone if this is some wonky White Sox win? But it ended up being that. If the White Sox can give you 3 runs, I do think that this over is in play, but I think they can actually score a couple more off of Bailey Ober, to be honest. Especially, if his slider isn't working. That's a pitch that this White Sox team seems to either hit really well or struggle against. If he's throwing one that's hanging, this White Sox new look offense, when I say new look, last 30 days or so have actually looked like a serviceable offense. They may be able to put something up, and they're also going to see a lot of changeups. They're one of the better teams against the changeup so far in the last 30 days in the month of August there. So yeah, maybe this is a spot for an over. There's a lot of weird matchups today, guys, so apologies if you're sitting here being like, Ev's kind of seeming like he's on the fence about a few things. Yeah, this is a weird one. The Twins are probably the better team, but are they minus 190 better? No, I think the White Sox can kind of hang in this one. Next up, we have the Cardinals taking on the Athletics. Cardinals coming off a series in which they looked pretty good against the Reds. They even scored 4 runs yesterday and ended up losing that game 7-4, but, they won 2 of those 3 games. The Athletics got swept by Texas, and this A's team does seem to, like I said yesterday, struggle to some degree against good pitching, which isn't the craziest of takes. Sonny Gray's on the bump for St. Louis here, and though he's, I guess, been a little sporadic lately, he still has more good starts, whether you look at it on the season or in his last 5 starts for a small example, a small sample size there. He has more good starts than bad, and he's pitching deep into games. He's going up against Luis Morales, who's been very, very good. I believe in 5 appearances, but 4 starts so far this year, 0.5 ERA in those starts. He's pitching, 5+ innings, only allowing 2.2 hits. So this guy's been pitching fairly well, right? He's going to throw that fastball. St. Louis, and we'll show you on the dashboard here, fastball. St. Louis really does struggle against that. The slider could get him today as they're a decent hitting team, but ultimately St. Louis I still don't fully trust against righties right now. Where I go in this one is pretty simple. I do think the Cardinals have an advantage with Sonny Gray on the mound and the better bullpen, okay? So Cardinals money line is what I'm considering. What I definitely think that I get down in probably both of these spots, split our money somehow. First 3 under 2.5. Give Morales one time through this Cardinals lineup. And same thing with Sonny Gray, right? First 3 under 2.5. And then the first 5 under 4.5 I like as well. I think that if Sonny Gray can manage and kind of pick apart some of these bigger bats and these young guys in this Athletics lineup, then we could be off to the races. And for what it's worth, Sonny Gray, small sample size, but 21 plate appearances against this current roster on the A's side of things. 23.8% K rate, WOBA of 243. Not too bad, right? So, yeah, I think that we can see 2 good pitchers, or we should see 2 pitchers pitch well for the first 3 and first 5 innings. So yeah, maybe we take a unit and split it in half and say half on the first 3 and half on the first 5 under. I think that that's what I'm really getting excited about in this one, but I do think Cardinals are still the side, even though their offense seems to struggle. I don't know how much I'm trusting this A's offense on the road lately. And both these teams did have to travel, by the way, so maybe they come into this a little sluggish as well. St. Louis coming from Cincinnati and the A's coming from Texas. By the way, guys, the MLB dashboard, go check it out. GuyBostonSports.com. GuyBostonSports.com. You can head to the members area, check out the MLB dashboard. You can see it here. You have pitching data. Well, first off, you have team trend data. Some of the stuff's loading right now. You have pitching data. You have bullpen data. You even have pitch mix for the starting pitchers, so you know how often they throw the pitches. You have offensive data, how well the offenses hit those pitches, and then even down to the projected lineup and how they hit lefty righties. Their pitch mix rating via our algorithm of ScorePredicts.com, as well as how they see all of the specific pitches. Really cool stuff, guys. We even have weather, we have park factor, a lot of stuff in there. And right now, a couple days left of this deal, if you call it. If you have an MLB dashboard, you get free access to the NFL dashboard. So you'll be able to go to the menu and click NFL dashboard, and boom, it's right there. This is until this game kicks off. So until Thursday, you could check it out to see if you like the NFL dashboard. This is, I think, one of our best dashboards that we have made to date. You have tons of stuff up here, including something we didn't have last year whatsoever. In fact, a lot of this is new, but we have quarterback data. So overall, this is last year's data, right? But overall, versus zone, versus man, versus pressure, versus blitz for both quarterbacks. We have team offensive data for the season, at home, last 3 games, defensive, season, home, last 3 games, and then you have, again, zone, man, blitz, pressure, all that data, what the obviously the defenses does, so you can kind of line it up to what the quarterback does. We also have the lineups pulled in with injury designations, so you guys can know, hey, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith looks like they're questionable, Dallas Goedert as well as DVOA adjusted defense versus position. So right here, you can see this is a team, Dallas, pretty weak against the quarterback, maybe Jalen Hurts, player props or something to look at, that type of a thing. And then DVOA rankings overall right there. Yeah, that's a lot of NFL dashboard talk, but trust me, this MLB dashboard is absolutely unreal as well. You get them all at GuyBostonSports.com. Head to the members area. Didn't mean to talk too much about the NFL dashboard, but I'm excited for it. Let's get back to these baseball games, Ev. Come on. Next up, we have the Cubs taking on the Braves. The Braves. Cubs coming off of a winning series against Colorado. That said, they did lose yesterday. Braves coming off of a losing effort against Philadelphia. They lose 3. It was a 4-game series. 3 of 4. They did win yesterday, though. Colin Ray is on the mound for the Cubs. He was looking really, really good, and then kind of got hit up by San Francisco in his last start. When I say kinda, 4 2/3, 7 runs came in, 6 of those being earned, only 2 strikeouts. So he did get hit up, right? Atlanta's Spencer Strider's coming off of one of his better starts in a while against Miami. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned. Now he only had 3 strikeouts and 2 walks, so maybe not typical Spencer Strider, but again, he had been struggling before that, to be completely honest. Now we are at Wrigley today, and we have a park factor of minus 15% on the run index. I think this Cubs team's gonna be home. A little fired up about the loss yesterday. Colin Rea has been a little bit more consistent than Strider. Give me the Cubs, but what I'm actually eyeing here is a potential look at that under. I do think Spencer Strider could pitch fairly well. You could see he's going to throw a ton of fastballs, right? This is a Cubs team that's not hitting the fastball right now, and they're not really hitting anyone all that well right now. You have Colin Rea, who has a plethora of a pitch mix, and yeah, the Braves look like they've been okay, but even at best, kind of just middle of the pack right now, right? Offensively, so, and their recent numbers would say that they're not all that great offensively. Last 4 games, so that series against Philadelphia, 3-2-1-4 in terms of runs scored. I don't mind that under 8, especially being in Wrigley with wind blowing directly into the batters' faces. Let's see 2 good outings from the pitchers here. Now, if you want to pivot to a first 3 or first 5 under, yeah, maybe that's a decent look as well, or even a, nerfy. I get that, but I kind of like the bullpen matchups here as well. Like, we did see a lot of guys, or 2 guys pitch back-to-back days there from the Braves bullpen, but even still, they might be good to go again today. The Cubs only used 3 arms, and, only Hoge pitched a bunch of pitches. I think the bullpen should be okay. But again, first 5 could be considered as well. Rockies taking on the Giants. We have Chase Dollander on the mound going up against Kai-Wei Tang. I would say that this is a quick one for me. I'm going to look at the Rockies in the over. I don't love Dollander, right? And not that I love either one of these offenses, but Kai-Wei Tang has not been that all impressive in his starts so far. I mean, this year he's got a 8.7 ERA, yikes, a 1.73 whip. He struggled on the road. Now he's on the road in Coors. Park factor of plus 35% in terms of runs today as well. You're getting plus money for a team that's used to playing there, and they've been there in their last series, right? Yes, they did lose 2 of 3 against the Cubs, but again, they've been there now for about 4 days, something like that. This San Francisco team coming off of a big offensive performance in that last game against Baltimore. In fact, they did score a bunch of runs in their 2 wins against Baltimore. It's like 13-14. But now they go to Colorado with a pitcher on the mound that I don't necessarily trust. Rockies in the over is, simply put, the only thing that I'd consider in this one. I'm not backing Tang, but the over would be the way to say, hey, this Giants team could probably continue their offensive success. But let's not get confused. They kind of have a you-know-what sandwich there. Yeah, 15 runs is what they scored. Then they scored 1 and then 13. So it's kind of like, what happened there? Maybe it's because they went up against Trevor Rogers for that one. That could be. I wouldn't put Dollander on the same pedestal as him. Brewers taking on the Phillies. This is definitely a tough one for me to kind of navigate. We have Jacob Miso Soup Misarowski on the bump going up against Taijuan Walker. Misarowski is obviously very, very good. I think we know that. I think we all understand that. But he hasn't really been that great, especially since, I guess, coming back from that 15-day DL. And they're not pushing him deep into games. Now, this is a Phillies offense that definitely takes a step back when on the road, especially like when they're not in great weather. I mean, this is a dome, but still not exactly a crazy run-scoring ballpark either. So I do have my hesitations for Philly to score, but I would say for the money and for the value right now, the Phillies would be the only thing that I consider. I mean, they're coming off of a loss. Maybe they're a little fired up about that. And how often are you going to get this Phillies team at nearly plus 150? But I'm giving Miso Soup the benefit of the doubt here and also leaning towards an under. He is going to throw a ton of fastballs, and his fastball is amazing, right? We know that. This is a Philadelphia team that kind of struggles against the fastball. I mean, Schwarber, Bohm, and Stott are the only guys that have positive runs above average in that lineup. Now, yeah, a couple of those guys could do some damage, Schwarber being one of them, right? And we do see Miso Soup kind of struggle against lefties a little bit, so I get it. But ultimately, this is still a Phillies lineup that struggles for the most part against fastball. The slider is something that I could see maybe tripping him up, right? A lot of sliders being thrown, second best last 30 days against the slider, and check that out. The meat of that lineup, pretty much all the guys you care about are pretty decent against that slider. Now, I can't really say much about Taijuan Walker. That's where this gets a little dicey, me taking an under with Walker included. But are we going to sit here and act like Milwaukee's offense looks like it was the offense, 3-4 weeks ago? They've been a little bit more dicey. If they go out there and give you 4 runs here, we could see a 5-4 game that pushes and it didn't breach that 9 number. So, yeah, I really hesitate to, back Walker. I get it. I think that he's a pitcher that you really are rolling the dice with when you're backing. But I think if he pitches 5 innings of 2 to 3 earned, we're still in play for an under. And also a Phillies play at plus 150. So, kind of a weird one, but that's what I'm thinking. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Padres taking on the Orioles here. Padres coming off of a series in which they lose 2 of 3 against Minnesota, but now they return home. They do have a home record of a really good number this year. I think it's like 43-21 or something like that. Baltimore on the road. They're coming off of a losing effort against San Francisco, and they've lost 8 of their last 10 games. Now they have Kyle Bradish on the mound, who didn't look all that bad in his season debut against the Red Sox. 6 innings, 2 earned, 10 strikeouts, but he did allow 2 home runs. Dylan Cease is on the other side for San Diego, and while Dylan Cease's numbers aren't all that incredible if you look at it from that perspective, and his last 5 starts, he's still been better at home this year than he has on the road, and he throws a ton of sliders. We know that, right? This is a Baltimore team that has kind of been struggling against the sliders lately. Now, most of the guys in their lineup, you have Gunnar Henderson and Mountcastle, and I believe Jeremiah Jackson, so their 2, 3, 4 hitters have actually been hitting the slider well. If he can get through that little bulk, knock on wood, this kind of should be easy sailing for the rest of the lineup for Dylan Cease. I just hopefully, wonder if those guys come up again for the second time. Is it going to be the same? But to me, this is a Padres spot. Dylan Cease probably in a better spot here at home. Kyle Bradish, I was kind of impressed that he struck out that many guys in his first start, but this is a Padres team that actually last 30 days striking out the fewest in the league. So that was the only real special thing that Bradish did in that first start. And I don't even know if I would consider him like a big strikeout guy. Maybe it was the adrenaline from coming back after not pitching for so long. Nonetheless, though, Padres and then Baltimore team total under. I really do think that slider could really work for Cease today. So we'll see. I think you have to get maybe for plus money 3.5. If it's like minus 120 for the 3.5, I don't think that I love that. I'd probably just say, hey, screw it, Padres with the juice at that point. Tampa Bay taking on Seattle. Tampa Bay coming off of a series in which they looked all right against Washington, right? They win 3 straight, so they swept them there. They won 6 of their last 10 games. Seattle's been a little sporadic, right? And they end up losing a pretty low-scoring series overall against Cleveland. Today they have Luis Castillo on the bump. He's had some struggles lately and some struggles on the road, but what I will say is I still do think that he's probably the pitching advantage over Shane Baz on the other side of things. He's really struggled at home. Now I get it, in Steinbrenner Field, it makes sense. I understand that. It's a AAA ballpark in a sense, spring training ballpark. So does make sense. I do think that both these pitchers could be all right in this spot against the other offense. So I think the Mariners have a strong advantage here with Luis Castillo on the bump, humming fastball in there, and I do think that he's a little bit more savvy to the idea of pitching in this type of field. Even the numbers would say that Shane Baz is not accustomed to it, right? But I don't mind, this one fading the Rays offense, fading Seattle's offense. Neither one of them are all that crazy, and I think Shane Baz could have somewhat of a bounce back spot here. I mean, like I said, he desperately needs it, but he started to move in the right direction against Cleveland in his last start. It was 3 hits, 3 earned, but he did have 7 strikeouts, no home runs, just 2 walks. So if he does something like that, I think we could be on our way to a first 5 under, and I'm hoping Luis Castillo just kind of flashes back to what he was doing, pre-August. His August wasn't all that great, but he had been pitching really, really well. So yeah, simple enough. Mariners, I think that they're probably the side for me, but also this is a pick 'em right now. So obviously you can probably justify on either side, especially if the Rays are playing well coming off of that Washington series. But to me, I think that both pitchers may have somewhat of a, slight advantage over their opponents on the other side of things offensively. So first 5 under, 5.5, I think that's a decent enough play. All right, last game of the day for us. We have the Diamondbacks and the Rangers. This Rangers offense seems to be absolutely rolling right now. 8-2 in their last 10, but listen to these runs scored in their last 5. 9, 9, 5, 27. They're looking pretty good. Now, Arizona coming off a winning series against the Dodgers. You like to see that for them, right? They've won 4 of their last 5. Yesterday, they do lose 5-4. Now they have Ryan Nelson on the mound. He's coming off of a start in which was pretty damn good. It was against Milwaukee. 1 earned through 6, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Now, Patrick Corbin's also coming off of one of his better starts of the year. 8 strikeouts through 8 innings pitched, 0 earned against the Angels. I do think that this kind of flips on its head a little bit. I don't mind the over in this spot. I'm also going to take a peek at Diamondbacks team total over. The reason being is I do like the idea of Ryan Nelson versus Patrick Corbin in this Diamondbacks offense against Patrick Corbin, right? Pretty much fading Patrick Corbin, I guess, in this spot. My concern is what if we roll with the Diamondbacks money line for that value at minus 150, what if this Texas lineup just continues to score a bunch of runs, right? That's the thing that I don't want to discount, I guess, in a sense. So that's why I would say if you like the Diamondbacks, maybe it's a team total over spot because they could still lose the game and score 5 runs. or to say, hey, screw it, go out there and get us 10 runs combined, right? In terms of what we have projected in this one, it looks like it's a 4.9 to 4.7 game, so right on that 9.5. But again, say it's, 5-5, that cashes, and who cares about extras? It could be 5-4, one run comes in, boom, there you go, tied because the team needs to tie it. Or you could even have 4-4 head to extras, and it's not that crazy that 2 runs come in. So I do think late in the game, there's multiple ways you could get to 10 runs here. Does that mean that I'm fully confident in it? I mean, Patrick Corbin is coming off a good start. So is Ryan Nelson. He's a good pitcher. There are some hesitations there. I will admit that. But I do like the Diamondbacks to score 5 or just both teams to go out there and have a decent offensive day. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. Appreciate all the support. We're about to ramp up content like you read about here on the channel because football starts this upcoming week, or this week. Crazy to say out loud. Thursday night football video from me will be live Wednesday. We'll also have H to H live Wednesday with me and Tassos. I'm looking forward to this football season so damn much. So let me know in the comments if you guys are as well. Comment 30. Let me know that you made it this far in this video. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.